Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
This is Science for Humans with Dr. Jeff Galini.
Hey, Dr. J, how you doing?
I'm good, Carl. How about you?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Listen, I got an exciting announcement to the listeners out there.
Yes.
We're giving away 10 pair of tickets to 3 events at the Arnold. You can go to the Expo, the after party with the pros, and the showcase on Sunday and actually meet Arnold Schwarzenegger himself.
Wow.
You got to send me an email at onair@superhumanradio.com, and the secret word is GRIP, G-R-I-P, GRIP, and we will select either 5 people to receive a ticket for them and their companion. So how's that sound, Dr. J?
That's going to be awesome. And you're going to be out there too, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be out there. But no one will see me. No one ever sees me because I'm a stick in the mud. I go to the events. I go to my room. I don't go out and party. So,
well, maybe they'll see you walking around this show, you know.
Yeah. Most of the time when I'm there, no one knows what I look like. But then someone will come up to you and say, because they'll hear me talking, they'll go, "Hey, are you Carl Lenore?" Yeah. Yes, that's me. Got to hear my voice. So, Dr. J, let's see here. I want to give credit where credit is due, so just bear with me one second. But we have a listener, and his name is Jesse from New Mexico. He says, I've seen a lot of postings about EFX Sports on Facebook. Can you tell me who EFX Sports is, who started the company, what types of products they have, and so on? So what do you want to start with this? This started how many years ago?
Yeah, I think a lot of people wonder because we talk about it all the time, but it's interesting because EFX Sports started as All-American Nutritional Supplements in 1985.
Wow.
And I started it as more or less a hobby. Back then, there was no real good supplements, and the protein that we had was so terrible tasting. You remember the old milk and egg?
Yeah.
I mean, you had to choke it down.
Yeah.
So I got this idea that if I could find a small little manufacturer who could press these into tablets, then me personally, I could just swallow these tablets instead of trying to choke down that protein. And that's kind of how the company started. I came up with All-American Nutritional Supplements. The gal that used to make my posing trunks, back then it was all custom made. You go in, you got measured, and, they would make them. I was telling her about going to do this product, and I said, I got to come up with a name. And she's like, well, it should be All-American. You're an All-American athlete. And I was like, oh, that's a good name.
That is cool.
So that's kind of how it started. It was just invested $3,500. I did a run. I don't remember how many bottles. But I just took them into Gold's Gym, and I just started selling to my friends and my clients. At that time, I was also doing personal training, and I just reinvested that. And one thing kind of led to the next, and here we are. But that's kind of how it started.
What was the protein content of one tablet, or how many tablets do you have to take? What was the serving size?
The tablet was about a gram of protein.
Okay.
So, back then, we would take about, 50 to 100 of those.
Right.
Take
chew
10,
them
15
up.
in between each meal. Yeah. And, it was a big old bottle. I don't remember if it was 500 or 1,000 pills in a bottle, but, it was pretty cost effective. But again, it was something new, because it was difficult, training, trying to get calories, and most of the proteins, if they weren't the nasty milk and egg, as we call it, they were these drinks that were sugar and gelatin.
Mm. Oh, yeah, which is a really poor quality of protein.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, they tasted great, but, guys were buying those by the case just trying to get their protein in. So when I came out with this, it was kind of exciting new thing. And, it seemed to work really well. It worked good for me.
I actually think that product should be revived because there's times where it may be the middle of the day and I wish I could just get 30 grams of protein and real fast, not have to mix it in a shaker bottle and shake it up, wash the shaker bottle out, just throw it in my mouth. Because I'm guilty of eating protein out of the bag with a spoon. I bet a lot of people are. That product would appeal to them.
Well, absolutely. And again, I think it probably would be something good. So maybe with the liver tabs, I might have to bring that one back, Carl.
Yeah, I think that really should be brought back. I really do. You had another product back in the day that I thought was, that harkened back to the days of Muscle Beach, and I don't know if you still have it, but didn't you also have a beef liver, a beef protein isolate? I don't know. I did. It was more a little bit moving forward, when I got out here. Again, always trying to find a way to get things in. So, I did have the liver tablets, and I thought, if I could find some beef protein, and I did. I turned it into a liquid, and I actually had a liquid version for years and years and years. I remember it. It was really great. And you, at that point in time, that must be 10 years ago, maybe?
You know what? I actually introduced that one. Oh boy, it's probably 15 years ago. I mean, it was quite a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean that was a great product, and that kind of was harkened back to the days of physical culture where they understood that, when guys like Jack LaLanne and Armand Tanny were going down to the stockyards and buying beef blood and drinking it.
Right.
And so I thought that was an amazing product, and it's gone now, huh?
I'm going to bring that one back too, but things kind of evolve. I was actually thinking about that last night, that
was a great product. And didn't you use a little glycerin in it?
Oh yeah, glycerin was the base.
And see, what people don't realize is that glycerin fills your muscles up with fluid. That's a technique used by professional MMA fighters when they have to make weight.
Yeah.
And then they make weight, they get completely depleted. That night they start drinking a couple tablespoons of glycerin in water. And by the next morning, they're 11 pounds up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is a great thing for lifters. I mean, I've been using glycerin, especially back when I was competing and training. Oh, yeah, that was a little secret, So I thought, man, this is a great base in these type of products because, again, it helps, like you said, to fill the muscle up. And it helps get things in the system really quick.
Yeah, that's another. I'm afraid if I name two more products, you're going to have a lot of work to do these next couple of months.
I am. I'm going to have a whole new line, man.
So give me the journey. So obviously that product really went well. The protein tablets. What was your next product? Was that when you started to fool around with creatine?
No, not yet. It was really protein itself because, as this product started to go well, I cycled it a couple times. I reinvested everything back. Some of the local stores started calling and saying, hey, we need a catalog. And I'm like, a catalog? I only got one product. So I came out with a pure egg white. I found a farm that was actually drying egg whites, and they let me buy, 50-pound boxes, and I would just package that into. Back then, we put the protein in bags. It was in a bag, and then it was like an insert inside another bag. So I started selling the protein, and that's really where the first two products. Then I really started to get into, some formulations and stuff, and I was still back in California. I started to get into. I was the one that introduced kind of the sublingual liquids under the tongue, the dibenkozide, the Smilax, the Yohimbe.
Wow.
Those were all coming out of our place. And then, I think it was about 1992 that I decided, we needed to expand and get into manufacturing. I couldn't do it in California. And that's when I moved to Montana. But I think about 1987 or so, 88, I thought, I'm going to do this as a full-time job. So I actually moved all this out of my little apartment. People probably wondered what was going on. People were coming all times of the day and night, buying their aminos and their protein.
Right.
I rented a little garage from somebody and would go over there and pack boxes. So I moved down to Venice Beach. It was an old hotel, and they turned it into an apartment building, and they rented me the basement. So I had about 800 square foot, had to go down an old 1920s Otis elevator
Wow.
So UPS had to come down the elevator to pick stuff up. And
and that's a slow moving elevator, I bet, too.
Oh my goodness. And if I had too big of orders, I had to pack them up in the lobby. So, the tenants would get mad, but the owner never said anything, he was getting his rent. So
how cool. So from that 800 square foot meager, beginnings in the basement, of a Venice Beach apartment building, you then go to Montana, and you've told me this story. It's really a funny story. People should hear it. So when you went out, when you were looking at your production space there, and the real estate agent gave you the numbers, you thought he meant monthly, right?
Yeah. I was just out here on visiting some family, my wife's family, and one of the guys at the gym said, "You should move here." And I'm like, "What? This is like Mayberry RFD, Andy Griffith. I'd never live here. Everything's closed on Saturday and Sundays." And he goes, "Well, come check out this building." So I didn't have anything to do, and we went down, and it was about, 8,000 square foot. Mm-hmm. And the realtor let us in, and I'm, "Well, how much is it?" "Oh, it's, what was it, like $9,000. And I'm like, "Oh, that's more expensive than LA.
Cause you're thinking she means 9,000 a month, right?
Yeah. And she looks at me, cause in LA, everything's by the month. And she goes, "Oh, really? Wow, that's a year." I'm like, "A year?" Like, if they got an airport and UPS here, I'm moving.
And that's really what happened. When you realized that you could get such a large facility, and reduce your overhead, it was a no-brainer at that point in time.
It was. I went back and I connected with the city. They've got a great business development team here in Billings, and they connected me with banks and shipping. And I found, man, we got an international airport. So that Christmas, normally in the old days, we would shut down for 3 weeks. We tell everybody it was physical inventory, although inventory took me about a half hour. Right. It was just a way of taking a break and sounding big.
Right.
So we shut down for that normal Christmas break, and we loaded up a 48-foot semi, which was the business, the home. And when the lights turned on, January, the 800 numbers now rang in Montana instead of LA, and nobody really knew the difference. And wow. I was now had enough room that I could start to do some of the manufacturing that I had an idea, because I was just held down by the manufacturers I were using. They didn't know how to innovate. I basically had to buy what they had available, and I didn't want to give them a whole lot of my secrets. So when I moved out there, I started to manufacture my own liquids, and then right after that, I got into powder blending. And I think I told you my first mixer was a 55-gallon drum. I'd put the powder in there inside a bag and roll it up and down the warehouse floors.
Wow. I mean, we talk about, the American dream, right? This is really the all-American dream here. This is really so interesting to me, because we've really never had all these discussions in one time. I've heard bits and pieces of this story, but I don't want to fast forward too fast, because we're going to take a break in a minute. But just fast forwarding to today, I don't think people have, well, I know they don't. I didn't know it until I started coming to Billings to do things at the facility. But I don't think people realize what a large contributor to the workforce, to the local economy, to the schools, to the teams and so on that AAP is in that community. I mean, I remember we were driving one day and people were waving at you in the car. And I'm like, he was at the football game the other day. He was telling me that he likes Carvel. And it was like everybody knows Dr. Jeff.
They do. And I remember we would get mail that would just say All-American Billings, Montana, or All-American Montana, and it'll come because, everyone now knows about us here in the state, not only just because of the business, but, what we do for the economy.
Give back, right.
All the things we're involved with, the sports teams, the schools. So again, people have come to know us pretty well, and it's pretty fun. It's a great place to live and a great place to manufacture, low humidity, great people, great staff, take a lot of pride in their work here in Montana. And
we're going to talk about the perfect location for shipping throughout the country in a minute, because that's really another aspect. But I want to mention that last night I was checking my Instagram, and so I follow the She-Wolves, your team's cheerleaders now, right?
Yes.
What's the Billings She-Wolves, right? Is that what they call?
They're actually the EFX Sports Billings She-Wolves.
Thank you. And so I posted on their Instagram, I love this picture. EFX Sports is plastered all over the stadium and the field. Everything that they did, there was a banner somewhere or an LCD lit up or something on the field that said EFX Sports. It was fantastic.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it is, you come in there and it's the EFX Sports field. I mean, you almost get tired of hearing them announce our name. There's so much. I mean, it's everywhere, but that's part of, again, they're excited that we're helping their team and we're behind it. And in exchange, they really want to promote us because the guys are using the supplements. Even the cheerleaders are all using the supplements.
Right.
So,
Right. I want to take a break. I want to come back. I want to talk more about what EFX is today. Also, the fact that you apparently have a T-shirt cannon that I want to play with when I come to Montana next time. So Let's do this. Let's take one quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more of Dr. Jeff. This is kind of a different science for humans. Stay tuned. How to properly use carbohydrates to ignite your performance in the field and in the gym? You will now, thanks to this free book by EFX Sports. The Carb User's Guide for Maximum Performance reveals why omitting carbohydrates from your diet can totally crush your gains. Ever wonder how many grams you need for your specific sport? Not anymore. We give you the critical number you need to dominate your competition. You'll even discover the super carb that's taking the athletic world by storm. You must try it to believe it. Go to getcarbolin.com/carb guide today and get your copy absolutely free. Once again, it's getkarbolin.com/CARBGUIDE.
Ever feel like you want something crunchy? From the company that gave us the Quest protein bar, now comes the Quest high protein potato chips with 21 grams of high quality protein and only 5 grams of carbs and no artificial ingredients. Just like Quest bars, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to superhumanradio.com and click the Quest High Protein Potato Chip banner ad today and get ready to be satisfied. Thanks to Quest Nutrition, chips just aren't what they used to be.
Hey, this is Carl. Start your day just like I do with a high-dose lipospheric vitamin C from Live On Labs. You too can benefit from Live On Labs' lipospheric delivery system. No more pills or powders. That's outdated technology. Live On Labs has the world's most efficient vitamin delivery system, period. Learn a lot more today at liveonlabs.com and benefit from their new reduced pricing. That's liveonlabs.com, Livon labs.com.
MadeByHemp.com sells the highest quality products derived from industrial hemp, raw oils high in CBD, tinctures, and salves. You can also get fashionable apparel made from industrial hemp at MadeByHemp.com. CBD is a constituent of industrial hemp that has no psychoactive properties, but has been shown to provide a variety of health benefits. Go to MadeByHemp.com today and take a look at all of our amazing products. Use the coupon code SHR to save 25% off your entire order. MadeByHemp.com, your one-stop shop for all things hemp on the web. The category killer is back. Mass Pro Synthogen, with results literally from workout 1. You'll recover like you're a teenager again. If you've been pouring your heart out in the gym with little to nothing to show for it, you owe it to yourself to see the performance-enhancing and cosmetic effects it can make almost immediately. One user said, I wish I could have tried it sooner. I just ordered 2 more bottles. And another, the overall single best bodybuilding supplement I have personally ever used. Visit CoachRobRegish.com or PredatorNutrition.com to learn more today. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it. Even for extraordinary people, it's all about motivation. Getting going and focusing is easier said than done. That's why people like you with big goals and bigger dreams are turning to Exact to feel motivation now. Exact delivers the breakthrough mental energy you crave and unleashes your creativity. Exact combines precise levels of 6 ingredients that greatly improves brain power and produces intensity. Many of our customers say Exact brings them instant gratification, making them feel happy, bright, and attentive. We say Exact delivers, guaranteed or your money back. Go to xactmind.com to get your trial pack absolutely free and experience life with the motivation, focus, and drive it takes to realize your potential.
AnabolicMinds.com is the premier website for credible information on building muscle, burning fat, supplementation, and more. With over 100,000 active registered members and over 2.5 million posts, it's one of the largest communities on the internet to get help and answers to your question. It's also the place that the official Superhuman Radio Forum is hosted. Visit AnabolicMinds.com today and get into the action. AnabolicMinds.com. Learn, teach, lead.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where we use oxygen for the power of good.
Welcome back. I thought I would use Jesse from New Mexico's question to do something that I've not done before, and that is interview Dr. Jeff about the beginnings of All-American EFX and obviously AAP, All-American Pharmaceutical. One of the things that makes you unique as far as producing these types of products and supplements, because they're very heavy, and shipping bears a great burden on these products that people don't usually think about, both in their manufacturing, getting raw materials in, and then shipping the finished product out to wherever, warehouses and so on. And you told me the story once. Billings, Montana started because it was basically a huge railway depot where they would kind of switch loads and stuff would come in and go right back out again. So you're really ideally situated for this kind of stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Montana has, great trucking lines, great rail service, great air service. And we are All-American Pharmaceutical, the number one shipper in the state. We bring it all in, we produce it, and we ship it all out. Where in Montana, they bring in items and then they manufacture and consume it here, or they manufacture and they ship it all out. So we're dealing on both sides. So, our discounts that we get are better than any place in the country.
Right.
Carl, I can ship to New York cheaper than someone in New Jersey can ship to New York.
Right.
I can ship to Dallas. It can leave here. It'll be there tomorrow night. I mean, it's just unbelievable shipping lines. Empty trucks coming in and out. We have a local broker that goes out and finds these truck drivers so we can fill their trucks up coming in and out. They just want to get gas paid for because normally they'd have to come in or out empty.
Right.
And of course, the rail service is nearby. When we ship international, they actually bring the containers right here. We load them and seal them. So it's not like most companies where they've got to ship pallets down to,
the consolidator
or Seattle.
Yeah.
And, then someone else has to load them. It costs more. No, the containers are just dropped off here. They're brought in by rail or truck. We've load them. They pick them up and they're gone. So great shipping rates. And, that makes it important because shipping is very expensive when people buy stuff. So, shipping is not an issue. Montana is the only state, I believe, that doesn't have like a zone 7. When you're looking at like FedEx shipping, we only have 6. So again, we're kind of centrally located for shipping.
The other part of Jesse's question is, why do you give away so many free samples? And I got to be honest with you. When we first started working together, you gave away samples of stuff, and I thought, okay. But then, everybody does that for a short burst. It's like throwing your line out and if you're fishing, you just throw it out there and you wait and see what happens. And so some people, we're going to give away 100 of these, and then they don't do anything ever again like that. But you consistently increased what you were giving away since we've been working together, to the point where you're like, just email me and ask me for some stuff and I'll just send you what I got.
We had to revamp our whole shipping situation because, typically in the past, EFX Sports would give most of the samples to the stores. So it was more regulated. And when I started this whole sample giveaway, I really taxed the system. So we had to come up with better automation. But I like to be involved with everybody's sample because it's all custom. But I think the reason that I like to do that is, first of all, there's been so many people, including myself, where you see an ad and you go buy something and it sits on the shelf. I mean, how many times have we done that as consumers? It looks great. Well, I figure you don't go buy a car unless you test drive it. If you bought a car without driving it, you're crazy.
Right.
Well, why would you buy a supplement without being able to try it? So that was kind of how I started is, hey, come test drive these things. But I think I just get excited when people get excited about getting stuff for free.
Right.
And I think, a lot of people think I'm a little crazy because now, like, I had all this leftover professional football product. I mean, I had probably 7,000 bottles of aminos and liquid crealkaline.
Yeah.
I'm just giving it away. But, I can't use it, and it's too much for our staff, and I don't want to just throw it out. So I'd rather give it to people who enjoy it. But again, I think that's just how we are. I mean, if you could afford to give everybody everything for free, I would do that, but we got to make a living too,
Right.
and people here have to make a living. But again, it really comes down to people should be able to try something and make sure that it works. I had a guy that came back and said, hey, I only got a couple bottles, sample bottles of the Crealclin Hardcore. It really wasn't enough for me to evaluate. Would you be so kind to send me some more? I'm like, absolutely. Let me give you a whole handful. I mean, I want you to really make sure it works before you go spend your money.
Right. Because you know what? And that shows the trust in the product too. No one is going to give you something to try if they know their product sucks.
No,
they just want that. They want that one purchase from you, and then you can go away mad if you want to.
No, and I'm a firm believer that the product has always spoke for itself. That's how Crealclin started. Before anyone even bought it, I was out at every trade show giving out little 5-cap samples. I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands of those I gave away for 3 years before I actually started selling. It just took time. But again, here I was with a new creatine. I'm telling people creatine has flaws and this is better. And, hey, don't take my word. Here, try it. How many you want? 2, 3, 5. I mean, they could take whatever they wanted. And if they didn't think that it worked yet, they could try some more. I mean, that's what it's about.
So I'd like to try some of those liquid Crealclin.
That is my favorite, man. I'm
talking. Dude, when I first saw it, I thought, wow, Dr. Jeff had wine private labeled under the EFX name. I was like, oh man, this must be for a holiday. And then I'm reading closer. It was like, it's liquid Crealclin. Really?
We just never really marketed it real well. People are always a little skeptical to just liquids and things. But it's all about delivery. So, when I'm dealing with my professional athletes, they want the best delivery. So I thought, okay, the capsules are great and there's a place for it. The powder is great, but I want them to be able to conveniently take this, at halftime, before practice, before the game, third quarter, fourth quarter. And what a better way than a liquid Crealclin in a glycerol delivery base. Woohoo!
There it is, man. There it is, right there.
I'm talking in about 3 or 4 minutes, your veins are popping out. So again, I want people to try it, and I am going to relaunch this because I personally use it. I mean, this is what I use before I train. So I'll get you some out. It's pretty fun stuff.
I can't wait to try it. I'll talk about it on the air. So what did we miss anything here when we talked about the genesis and the journey?
No, I think we gathered it all. I think, again, if you're interested in what I do, I really like Facebook now. I'm kind of new there, but I find it's the best way to communicate with people, and people can communicate with me. I love messaging. I love getting, comments where, people are asking questions, and, it's really easy to get back. So Dr. Jeff Galini, go like my Facebook page. That's where I'm always putting all the free giveaways. So unfortunately, it's kind of for those people for the most part, because that's the easiest way for me to communicate with a lot of people.
How many people know the head of a 35-year-old company of this size? And see, people don't realize how big AAP really is. I mean, you guys just got a contract with the country of China to produce baby formula, right? I mean, so we're not talking about supplement manufacturers to the scale of what we're accustomed to in this industry. We're talking about a legitimate pharmaceutical company here. How many people can reach the guy who runs the ship? I mean, how many of those guys want to even be reached? You know what I'm saying?
They don't. And I just, it's kind of like doing these shows. It's just fun because when I go to some place and you want to talk to somebody and you can't ever get a hold, it's like, well, that's what this is about. I mean, people should be able to ask questions, and it doesn't just need to be, I want a free sample. I mean, people ask about training, diet, their kids. I mean, I'm not an expert in a lot of things, but what I do, I am an expert in. So again, I just enjoy sharing information, and thank goodness for, the speak to talk.
I know, right? Tell me about it.
But here's where I do most of it is when I go to the gym and I do my cardio. So thanks to everybody, my cardio went from 20 minutes to about an hour.
That's awesome.
I told Brian, I go, man, I'm getting so lean. I'm gonna be like Carl here.
That's awesome. That is. I know. I do the same thing when I'm doing cardio in the morning. I'm answering messages.
I'm just messaging and, posting stuff. So it's been fun for me too. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm thankful for All American Pharmaceutical and you, not just because of what you've done for the industry, but what you've done to make Thrive Advance the reality. And we're going to do a show specifically about that very shortly.
Yeah, we're good. And just in case you don't know what Thrive is, it is the ultimate protein is all I can say.
Yeah, and that's the truth. All right, listen, Jeff, thanks so much for being on the air today, brother.
Thanks, Carl. Take care, man.
Talk to you
Bye,
later.
everybody.